Wisconsin is lighting up Camp Randall, and I can't wait.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings. Today's episode, we are talking about the new stadium, what it's going to look like. Not the new stadium, but what the new effects are going to look like. Real or hype with a bunch of offensive and defensive players. Plus, a great guest joins us. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Landon jumping on the show again. UW River Falls student, radio guy, host, personality. Third time on the show if we count the call-in, man. I'm excited for this one. You came up with one of the ideas for this that I want to lead with. So Camp Randall installed 47. If people haven't seen this, 47 new color-changing light fixtures around the stadium meant for better immersion, better atmosphere. Opening game, night game, under the lights. They're going to have a light show. They're going to unveil all these effects. Real or hype? Do you think this is going to have a real impact on stadium atmosphere, or is this hype for you?
Oh, this is totally real. I mean, I saw this come out on Twitter a couple days ago, and I even heard when Patrick Herb was on your show, and he kind of alluded to it about the new lights and everything. And I'm like, oh gosh, please, can we do this? And I saw it on Twitter, and I just about ran around my apartment because this is huge. Atmosphere in college football is almost everything. If you have a great atmosphere, it can cause about 1.5 to 2 points per game, depending on who you're playing. And having like crazy lights and you score a touchdown, the whole place goes dark and you got flashing lights all over, gets the whole place juiced, gets one sideline juiced and not the other one. It means a lot. And I don't know if you're going to ask about this or not, but the wristbands that are coming, if any of you out there have not seen the concerts that were at Camp Randall this summer with Morgan Wallen and Coldplay, go look at those and it'll absolutely change your mind. I mean, I saw this come out and I'm like, I gotta go buy tickets to this game because how am I gonna miss out on this sweet opportunity that's gonna be going on with the lights on or off at Camp Randall.
Dude, I love the energy coming across the screen here. And for those that don't know, so 28th, the opening game, fans will receive a programmed LED bracelet. So that's exactly what Landon's talking about. It's going to be kind of themed in with the color and the overall programming of the show. I think it's going to be awesome, man. I think it's going to be fantastic. And my kids are going. Like, I'm going to this game partially because I want we just moved back to Wisconsin last year. We talked about this on the show.
Yep.
I don't know if you and I have, but this is going to be my kid's first game in Camp Randall because we've been in Connecticut for the last 15 years and they're young.
Mm-hmm.
What better way to do it than under the lights against a team we should win with a light show, man?
Oh, what better way to sell a Badger fan forever when he remembers going to this game? I mean, it's going to be – I cannot wait to see what they do with Jump Around. I mean, you don't know how this – I mean, they're all programmed. You could have, like, certain people's – wristbands go up and it can spell stuff all the way around the stadium. You can have like the word jump going up. I mean, it's going to be, I got huge expectations for this. I just hope it doesn't disappoint, which I don't think it will, because the possibilities with these lights, especially around your wrist and all around the stadium, is only limited to the imagination of the people that are programming this.
Yeah, I love it, dude. By the way, please don't blow this opening game. My kid, it's going to be the first, this is my chance to hook them into Badger fandom. Please, for the love of goodness gracious, my guys, I need a awesome performance.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you about this specific thing that you brought up, and I'm glad you did it, man. It's a great thought, great idea for the show. I'm a little older, you're a little younger. We've talked about this. Is this the type of thing you need to do? Not just the lights, but you have to find ways to jazz up the stadium atmosphere for younger fans.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't even think fans, I think recruits too. You know, you got a 17-year-old kid coming in and, you know, he wants a cool place to play at. What's nothing better than Camp Randall with the lights off, and now you add these sick lights and Badger fans show up every single game. And then you go over to the state to the west of us that doesn't have this. I mean, that can flip people if you have this on display about what they're going to be able to do in this stadium, it can flip people. And I'm telling you, kids my age, we love this type of stuff. We love things that grab our attention and get us going. And it's just the little things with this. And I know it was a big investment. There's a reason that they did it. And I think it's going to sell a lot of people, not only the fans, but it's going to get young kids to come to Madison, which is already a great place to live and a great university. And this is just another bonus, a cherry on top to the football program.
Dude, I love it. And I'm kind of hyped for it too. Like, again, I'm older, but listen, lights and lighting and sound and ambiance, all those things have a factor in how we enjoy something, right? Think of a movie theater when the lights go down. Like instantly your anticipation rises up, or the right sound, or whatever it is. These things generate excitement, and excitement helps recruiting, to your point. It helps your team. It helps you generate, I think things like this help generate buzz around the program. And if you generate enough buzz in the aggregate, you're going to generate more NIL donations. Like all these things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about it right now. If I was a recruit, which I'm definitely not, but if I'm on a visit and I'm with Luke Fickell walking out onto the field, and let's just say he has a button or something like that, and we walk into Camp Randall and he hits a button and a whole bunch of crap starts happening, and I'm just absolutely amazed. I mean, I don't know how many schools out there have this, but they can't be that many. And huge selling point. Huge.
Absolutely love it, man. All right. I think this leads into the next conversation. Yeah. Student section. I know there's been some effort this offseason. I can speak to that. There's been some effort to make this a little better, a little more efficient. I mean, we've been talking about students not filling in Camp Randall for 15 years at this point.
Yeah.
Real or hyped, it's going to be better this year?
And this is hard. This is hard for me to believe. I think this is just a little bit of hype. They've been saying this for a long time. I know Rugiet is a huge advocate for this. Former student at Madison. I'm in a kind of a spot where I'm going to have to wait and see. I've heard a lot the last 2-3 years that they're going to try and fix this problem. They all funnel in there one at a time. You kind of see it just like a soft serve ice cream station, and it just kind of goes up, just nice layer by layer. And they're not all there for when the kickoff happens. They're all there by the start of the second quarter. And then if it's not a good game, we all know they leave after jump around. So if you get the students in there faster, football is a quarter by quarter game. If you have a better atmosphere in the first quarter, again, that's maybe a point or 2 points that you're leaving on the table. So I think it's a big factor, that something that Wisconsin needs to fix, because this isn't a problem anywhere else. I understand there's probably a reason that they're doing it right now. I mean, they got to scan the tickets one by one, and then they all file in there however they show up in line in. It's something that has to get fixed, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it over this offseason. If you're going to ask me, I say I doubt that it's going to happen, but there's always optimism, Ryan, and I know you like optimism, so maybe this could get fixed.
I am an optimism merchant. That is a trade that I ply in. I'm going to say actually some realness on this, and I think the schedule itself plays a factor. Right?
Okay.
Night games, but you're also going to have Ohio State. You're going to have Iowa. You're going to have Oregon. I just think some of these games are going to get people in a little bit better. And then I think some of these games are going to start a little later. Obviously, the opening one's the night game. And if that does well, I think that can generate some buzz. I also think this product's going to be better this year, which is going to get people in. Now, I don't think it's going to go from what it was to perfect. People are still going to leave after the jump around if the game's not very good. We're still talking about college kids in Madison. If that 11 o'clock kick, like, it's still not going to be completely full. But if there was a middle ground here, I would take the middle ground on this answer. But I'm not giving anybody a middle ground. You and I have to make hard decisions on this show, so I'm going to lean to the real on this one. We're going to take a second, come back, and Landon is going to tell you Jeff Grimes' offense, real or hype. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show. Also, as always, a quick second to say thank you for tuning in. Today's episode brought to you by our incredible friends over at Monarch Money. If you ever wish or if you ever wanted managing money just to be a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, well, it can be. I'm talking to you as someone who uses Monarch Money. It can be easier for all of us. Right now, whether you're growing your savings, which we all are probably trying to do to some degree, or you're planning a big purchase, whatever it is, I'm kind of planning for a jet ski maybe sometime in the next year. That would be fun. That might be my big purchase. Monarch's going to help me get there. It's going to put you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO. giving you all the full visibility and control over all your finances. My absolute favorite part about Monarch Money is it brings every financial tab you have, bank accounts, investments, mortgages, credit cards, all under one roof. So you can see it all in one spot. Think about how much that would simplify your financial life, just seeing everything in one spot so you can plan, track, and save from one dashboard. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for 50% off your first year. Today's episode also brought to you by our incredible new sponsors. They just debuted the other day. OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the key to not missing calls. If you're a business, you're a small business owner, you cannot afford to miss calls because calls are customers. Customers are money, and money is why you have the business in the first spot. We own a little place. We had a place in New York, and we would call all the time because it was a rural spot, and we would try to get services, and sometimes you're not getting anybody. You don't keep calling that person. You call the next person or the next person until you get somebody. If you had OpenPhone, you wouldn't miss those calls. It is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months. OpenPhone.com/LockedOnCollege. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnCollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Let's jump back in here with Landon. Again, man, been a minute. I'm stoked to have you back on. Jeff Grimes offense, real or hype?
I'm going real with this. I feel very good about Jeff Grimes coming into the Wisconsin system, and I know that Luke Fickell, he had to have some long sleepless nights about what he was going to do with the offensive side of the ball. He decided to give Mike Tressel another year due to that connection that they've had. He went with them to the college football playoff. That's why he's still here. Phil Longo didn't work out, and he knew, and I think a lot of people know, that this is his last offensive coordinator unless he can turn the ship right here in the next 2 years. So I feel like he made the right decision. Jeff Grimes, an excellent offensive coordinator. He was 12th nationally last year in rushing yards per game with 212, 7th in yards per completion with passing at 14 yards per completion. I think that he can do this over at Wisconsin. He's got a lot of weapons. He's got Vinny Anthony. We feel like Billy Edwards Jr. is going to be a significant upgrade from Braden Locke. And, of course, that three-headed monster we got in the backfield with Dylan Jones, Darian Dupree, and Katie Akamelli. Man, I feel like all of the tools are there for Jeff Grimes, and I feel like we got the right man behind the wheel to turn the ship and kind of work the controls of all these pieces and to make a great offense back at Wisconsin again.
I love that. That's a great answer. I'm also going real. I think this is real. I don't think it's hype. You know, it's funny. I don't know if we've seen a coordinator come in with more hype and fail quicker in many places than Phil Longo. And I don't know if we've seen another coordinator come in a little lukewarm, but really in an offseason win over the fan base than Jeff Grimes.
Yeah.
When he came in, a lot of people were like, gosh, I don't know. Baylor kind of let him go. Kansas kind of let him go. Mm-hmm. But then when you look into it, there are some circumstances there. And then when you hear him talk and everybody seems to embrace it and you're like, wow, this feels like Wisconsin football again. I think it's real, man. To the point where it's almost getting overhyped. People are really buying this now. And you got to be careful with that. But he just feels like a great fit. And you hear people talk about him, what he wants to do. Then you see it in practice and you're like, wow, there's motion again. And we're using tight ends. And now there's that jet sweep. Mm-hmm. That worked for 20 years here. It's like comfort food, right?
It is. I think the entire state of Wisconsin got off the couch and jumped up and down in the spring game when he came out with the ISO format with the fullback and ran the ball. I think he won everyone over right there. And
I love it.
He's got everyone's confidence, or most people's confidence. Obviously, you can't have everyone's, but it's his ship right now on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that we got the right captain.
Yeah, I swear when I was at that open practice and he came with the fullback, and I swear I looked down the crowd and this like older gentleman was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, go back. I love it. Let's go real or hype. Lance Mason, tight end hype.
Yeah, I was honestly back and forth on this one. I wrote down real, and then I put down hype just a second guess because I had real on like literally everything else that we were going to talk about. So I couldn't have real with everything. So I put hype on there for right now. The reason I did, the reason I was going back and forth, you've heard his name a lot throughout fall camp. I mean, a lot of people have been writing about him. We've heard his name a lot on all the podcast Badger platforms that are out there. And of course, Grimes likes to use the tight end. So there's a lot of area that you can see that he's going to fit in this area. Does the fact that Tucker Ashcraft is now out, does that hurt or does that help him? Because now he's going to maybe have to stay on the field a little bit more. They're not as confident with the 2 tight end set anymore, which Jeff Grimes really likes. I don't know how that's going to kind of fit into this scenario. This is another spot, Ryan, where I'm in a wait and see with Lance Mason.
I think that's a good point you brought up about how the Tucker Ashcraft injury could have potentially impact him adversely, Mason, because Ashcraft is a little more rugged. He would have been the guy, like if you're in the 2 tight end set, you're coming out there. Ashcraft is more likely the guy that we're going to use you to wall off a defensive end or to do some dirty work. And now Mason might need to do some of that physically might wear him down a little bit. Actually, that's an interesting point. I'm still going to go real on this. The way, even when Ashcraft was there, it at times felt like in some of these practices, Mason is their number 1 guy they're trying to get the ball to. We have Ballard, Vinny, but we are going to get the ball to Mason. And they ran tight end jet sweeps. For as much as Paul Chris loved tight ends, I don't even remember that part of. Well, he actually did it with like Lance Kendricks, but Kendricks was like a hybrid. I think they like him a lot. He really impressed me. I'm going to go real on this one, but you brought up an interesting point with Ashcraft. I can see that. Schedule difficulty, real or hype? And considering like how much we've talked about it, the hype is pretty high here, right? Is it a little overblown? Maybe that's how I would phrase this, because everyone would agree this is a tough schedule. But have we overblown it? Is that part real or hype?
No, I don't think that we've overblown this at all. I put totally real for this. You got 6 top 25 opponents. You have 5 of those are top 15 preseason. You have 3 that are top 10. 4 of those are on the road, Ryan. You got Football Schedules has this as the number 1 toughest schedule in the nation. USA Today has this at number 1. Pro Football Network has this at number 1. And then 247 and Sports Illustrated has this in their top 5. If you got this many people talking about this ain't a fluke. This ain't nothing. This is difficult. Everyone knows it. Luke Fickell knows it. The players know it. You've heard it all over Big Ten Media Days. You've heard it every single time it's come up. Luke Fickell says the same answer every single time. They know what they signed up for. And that's all he has to say about it. It's a real thing. Everyone knows. How are they going to respond to it is the question. How are they going to take this schedule and maybe put it in their favor, or are they going to let it sit back and they're going to let it defeat them? We could see. This is a huge take, and I might just credit myself by saying this, but I should say I heard someone else say this, so that's why I'm saying it. This is a potential schedule where you could have a 4-loss team enter the college football playoff because of how difficult this schedule is. Now it depends on who those 8 wins are and who those 4 losses are, but it's been talked about. So it's a problem, Ryan, and we're gonna have to face it this season. It is what it is. And if you're scared about it, you can go online and look at the 2026 schedule and make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no way this isn't like overhyped. Phil Steele also, I think, came out, I believe, and said toughest schedule to add on to everyone else that said this is top 5 toughest, et cetera. I mean, it's like, Frodo going to Mordor. Like, you just have to go through the most difficult process possible to get to that end of the road. So, yeah, it's super hard. And there's parts of that should excite people, because for years, we almost, not just the team, but Badger fans almost slept walk through part of the year. You would have 4 or 5 games where they all felt kind of like some degree of layups. You'd play bad Indiana, and then you'd play Illinois, and then you'd play a couple bad out of conference teams, and then so it's not that. Like, be excited about good games. Like, that's the optimistic, positive side about it. You could do amazing things this year if you win a couple of those games. So, but yeah, dude, 100%. The schedule is totally real.
And even something to add on to that, when you had Patrick Herb on here, I loved his answer when he said, just win. So that tells me that the organization and the team is taking this the way that we need them to take it when he said that, and the way Luke Fickell's response has been. I have had no problem with those. I like the way that they're handling this. If there were different answers, I think we should be a little more scared. But with those answers, I think has calmed, or not calmed, but has settled the Badger community.
Yeah, I loved, man. He's so good, Patrick Kerr. I mentioned it somewhere else. Like Wisconsin's lucky to have him. He is so good at what he does, and he's so well spoken. And I had a lot of people reach out to me. They were fired up about that. They were like,
Yeah.
man, more
Yeah.
Patrick Kerr, please. Which I think they also meant like, hey, maybe less Ryan. Like, can we just get maybe more? But yeah, dude, I loved his answers. He was awesome for sure. All right, we're gonna take one more quick second. We are gonna come back with that fearsome front seven. The Badgers have retooled it. Real or hype? Coming up next, Lockdown Badgers. But first, a quick second for our incredible friends of the show over at PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by the leader in DFS. That's PrizePicks. PrizePicks has made it simple to turn your football predictions into actual real rewards. Because this is a smart fan base. It's time to turn some of that football knowledge into something that pays off a little bit. Preseason's already heating up. College football isn't far behind. Whether you got your eye on the big name quarterback or the breakout Dylan Jones running back, PrizePicks makes it easy to get into the game. All it is more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. So you're not competing against thousands of other people. You're just competing against the stats, the numbers. You pick more or less on 2 and 6, like more than 2.5 touchdowns game week 1, Joe Burrow, and more than 120 yards, Dylan Jones. That's all you have to do. You have to pick the projections. If you get them right, you win. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKDOWNCollege. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKDOWNCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. Today's episode also brought to you by longtime friends and friends for a reason over at FanDuel. Football's coming. Baseball's still going. Summer's still going, but football's coming. You're not going to find a better sportsbook than FanDuel.com. Every type of action you're looking for: futures, parlays, teasers, spreads, live in-game betting, which means even if the game's getting out of hand, you can stay engaged and have some fun with it over at FanDuel.com. Parlays, parlay maybe the over-under on Wisconsin with a couple week 1 picks for a long-term thing. You can do whatever you want over there, and the payouts are quick, they're fast, they're efficient. The user interface is super clean. So when you get in there, it's easy to use. It's easy to get around. I've been using FanDuel for a long time. They are my number one sports book. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Open the FanDuel app today. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Landon, my guy, you're from front seven. They retooled it. They have edge rushers. They have the Reiger Tiger. What do you think? Real or hype?
I think that this is real. I love Mason Reiger, and I love the weight that they have added to that defensive line. When you go from only 3 out of your 10 defensive linemen are at 300 pounds to now you have 8, that's a lot of tonnage, and that is 60 minutes of pushing 300-pound bodies. It can take a toll on a guy coming from a former offensive lineman at the high school level. No, I'm just kidding. It's hard to move that amount of weight for 4 quarters. So, I mean, you got to love what they did there. It's got to be better. And, of course, the outside with Mason Reiger coming in, he has been the name of the camp. Every single person has said that he was the star. He was the MVP of fall camp. The health reasons, the only thing that is holding him back from people really going, full trust in him. But it's got to be better. I'm full on the real with the new front seven, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm real too. Like, this is an optimistic show, but I think this is definitely real. Now, I think context does apply here. For me, real means you're better than last year. You're solid. I don't think it's real in terms of this is a top 4 Big Ten front seven.
Yeah.
Dudes, but better than last year? Yeah, I think that's super real. And middle tier Big Ten with a star in Reiger, potentially, yeah, I think that's real too, man. But there's always a go still to get where Wisconsin needs to get. Like, they need to, they need to keep retooling. And I still think some of these guys are rotational pieces, which is great. You need those. I don't know if there's another difference maker outside of Reiger in that front seven. True difference maker. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm not sold on anyone else on the true difference maker other than Reiger. And this is a point that you've brought up a lot this offseason, is how much is the difficult schedule going to hinder the amount of progress that we think that we see on the field? You know, the tougher offensive lines that you play, the more talented running backs that you have in the backfield, that all impacts the stats that come out that we look at the end of the season and see how, did we grow? Are we better? That's going to be a factor. So we might have to take a look at that at the end of the season to see if We are, solid. Are we better than last year? But I think without a doubt, this is one of the spots that I'm very firm on, that Luke Fickell, Mike Trussell, everyone, they wanted to get this better. They knew it was a problem last year. When Iowa runs all over your face, you don't want that to happen again. You go out and you get the 300-pounders, Ryan.
I love it. Let's go real or hype. Freshman phenom Eugene Hilton Jr. been turning heads. A lot of talk. What's he going to do this year? Is he going to become a starter at some point? We know the pedigree. We know the lineage. He's looked great in practice. Real or hype, Eugene Hilton Jr.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely real. And I'm saying real on all of these because these are some great topics. I mean, this is where I feel great about the Wisconsin Badgers on a lot of these things. Every person I've heard, everything I listen to is Eugene Hilton. You throw him the ball, he goes up, he somehow makes a way to get the catch. Doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter how it is. He's going to go get the ball. You do that, you're going to end up on the field. Even Jeff Grimes said it himself. He's going to be in that rotation. It might take 3-4 weeks to have Ballard maybe drop out of the starting lineup and insert Eugene Hilton. But I think it's going to happen. Hopefully the Badgers can keep him, is unfortunately something that we have to say in this world of college football and college athletics, because he could be a star for the Badgers coming up with everything that we've heard and seen through this fall camp, Ryan.
I'm going to say a little hype here, and it's nothing to do with Eugene. He's just a freshman. I think if he hadn't had a lot, it feels like the rocket has blasted off a little bit here for Badger fans in terms of what they think he's going to do this year. I think that's getting a little ahead of ourselves. I still think they're going to get Ballard a lot of reps. Brooks is going to get a lot of reps. Vinny's going to get a lot of reps. A lot of what Eugene Hilton has done in practice has been against twos. It hasn't been against as much of the ones. I think there could be some welcome to college football moments for Eugene Hilton Jr. this year. So I think he's going to play. I love the ceiling. I love the next couple of years of Eugene Hilton Jr., but I'm going to start selling some of the hype because I think it's getting maybe a little far for a freshman receiver.
Yeah, I think that's an absolutely fair take. I mean, it has been against the twos, and I totally see where you're coming from there.
Let's get the next one here. This has been great, man. The kicking. Let's talk about kicking. Something we haven't talked about a ton. So I don't know if a lot of people on their bingo card had a kind of a kicking competition coming into fall camp, but Gavin Lom and Nathaniel Vakos, they've been kind of in a competition, man. Real or hype? This competition's real, and also real or hype. How do you feel about this?
Man, I really don't know how to feel about this. You could either look at this two ways. This is the way that we looked at Tyler Van Dyke and Braden Locke last year. This is how we're looking at Danny O'Neal and Hunter Simmons right now, battling for the 2 spot. Is the competition at a spot where they're both really good at competing, or is it in a spot where they're kind of both at the bottom and they're competing? From what I've heard, Ryan, they've both been drilling a lot of field goals, and every single time that they get an opportunity, they make it. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because hitting these in a practice with nobody in the stands around all your friends that you know is a lot different than in front of 80,000 with the lights on. And guess what? You got to hit this, or you're walking off the field with your head down and headed to a sad locker room. Completely different. Pressure changes people. And if you're making these in practice, that's all good and everything. You want to be making them in practice, but can you prove it that you can make it in the game when it matters? And I think that's why they're going to go with Vakos here. Although I've heard that Gavin Lom has an absolute cannon for a leg. Mm-hmm. I think that they're going to have to go with the experience here. He had a fluke or a bad year last year, only 60%. When he was a freshman at Ohio, he was in the upper 80s. I think that they're going to stick with Vakos. Then they're going to redshirt Lom, and he's going to be back next year for the Badgers.
I think it'll be Vakos too, and I completely and wholeheartedly agree with your take on. I don't even really care to watch practice kicks. I mean, obviously, listen, if you're watching practice kicks and they weren't making them, boy, then you're a trouble. But I don't really care if you bang a 42-yarder in Platteville. You should do it. I'm happy for you, but bro, pressure changes. If you, go watch, having seen D1 practices in several different colleges, go watch D1 players practice in basketball. I'm talking basketball. They hit every shot. I mean, it's incredible. And then the guy's a 23% shooter in games. Pressure changes things. Ben Simmons can hit threes in practice in the NBA. He can. And then he goes and he can't make layups in games. So, like, pressure changes things. I do think it's a competition. I do think they'll go with Bakos. I think they have to. But, man, I'm uneasy about that spot. Let's finish up on this question here. We didn't get to all of our over-unders, but that's totally cool. I wanted to hit you on this. I talked about this on the show the other day. Over under 9.5 games, the Badgers are within a score heading into the fourth quarter. I love this question. Again, A2 Badger on the Discord. Appreciate you. Really just a metric of how many times do you think we're going to get blown out this year, if we are?
Yeah. So I think we got a little bit of time with this. I'm just going to go quick through the games here. So I got Miami and Middle Tennessee. If we are not winning by a score into the fourth quarter, we got problems, and it's going to be a tough press conference for Luke Fickell. So I'm going to go with 2 there. Alabama, I don't think it's going to be within a score going into the fourth quarter down there. I think we're just different talent levels right now. Kalen DeBoer, great coach. It's down in Tuscaloosa. A lot of variables there against the Badgers. Prove me wrong on that. Again, we're going to have a great reaction show I can't wait to listen to on Locked On Badgers if that happens. Maryland, I think absolutely we're within a score. This one at Michigan, I'm going to put us down for we're definitely within a score with that one, mainly because I'm going to that game. So I think that I'm going to change the entire perspective of that game. But I do think that we're going to be. I think we're going to be in that game. The hype around Michigan, the freshman quarterback is what I'm absolutely sold on. Dylan Raiola had all that hype last year. Didn't turn out the way that everyone thought it was. Michigan does have probably better weapons than Nebraska does, but I do think that we're going to be within a score within Michigan. Iowa, we're not going to get run over this year. There's no way that the entire team did 42 extra push-ups every single day after practice, after every single lift, that they're not going to be within 1 score at home on homecoming. So that puts me at 5. Now, either one of these, I don't know which one. I'm not an ESPN analyst here, but I do think that either home against Ohio State or at Oregon, and I know at Oregon is absolutely crazy, but I think one of them, we're going to be within a 1-score game. Luke Fickell is going to have these boys ready, and I think that Jeff Grimes and everyone's going to be settled in enough that by the time of those 2 back-to-back games go, I know it's in the middle of that bad stretch, but I think that one of those, we are going to be within 1 score of those 2 really, really tough games. I think at home against Washington, we're within a score, and I think that at Indiana, we are within a score. I think at home against Illinois is the one that I'm a little bit cautious of. Illinois had a lot of hype. I hate Luke Altmaier. That guy frustrates the crap out of me. He seems to get away from every single rush that we throw at him. He's a great quarterback. Since it's at home, man, what the heck? I'm gonna put us within a score with that one. And then we are not. We better be taking down the rodents this year over in I don't even want to say the city because it makes me throw up. So I'm going to put us at 10, and I'm going to say that we are over the 9.5 mark, Ryan.
I love it. I think I took 10 as well. I do. I think this team is deep. Part of it's just being deeper. If you're deeper, you're going to be there in the fourth quarter in most of these games. Part of it is I think Billy Edwards Jr. is a real quarterback. He's not spectacular. I think he's a real quarterback. So I do agree. I have a set 10 as well. Bama was mine, and I think Oregon's my other one that I don't know if we're going to be within 7 heading into the fourth in Autzen after playing those 4 tough games. I think Bama's a different beast. I think they're just a different beast. Their blue chip ratio is like 95%. They have Ryan Williams. You're going to Brian Denny. That's tough. I think we'll show better than we did last year. I don't think it's going to be 42 to 17, but
yeah, what would you say is respectable? Like if you came out of that game, what's your point differential that you're saying, okay, I feel better?
I think it could be similar to when we played Bama. I'm trying to think of our quarterback that year. It was close heading into the third. Bama tacked on a couple touchdowns and ended up being like 35-17, something like that. I think something like that is 17 points. Listen, I'm not trying to sell a moral victory to anybody.
Yeah.
But I think you can play better where people nationally look at it and say that the Badgers look like they're a better team and this is heading in the right direction. I think that could be the output from the Wisconsin-Alabama game this year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm around that 3-score mark, between 17 and 21. You know what? And again, I'm not trying to sell moral victories either. That doesn't show up in the win-loss column, and I don't feel better at the end of the season like, oh, we were close.
Right.
But if it was that, you know what? it's two different teams at the end of the day, and sometimes you just gotta take it.
And there's also like realism matters too, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just have to call it like you see it, and it is what it is. And it, nothing would make me happier. Like, you imagine the reaction show if we go to Bryant Denny and win that game?
Oh my gosh,
dude, nothing would make me happier. I just think that's a tall task this year. Landon, man, tell people where they can find you before we get out of here.
Yeah, we're getting real close again. So I'm Sports Talk here at UW River Falls, Thursday nights, 6 to 7, live on the radio. You can look it up on WRW88.7.com. Since we're in the summer season, I don't have access to the radio station, but my first show is going to be ready to roll on the 4th of September. Is my first one. Again, it's on all the podcast. All my old ones are on the podcast platforms, and they'll be out ready to roll in September. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to talk after that first game. It's gonna be excited. I can't wait to get back into the football season, and then right when we get into football season, Ryan, we're gonna have to start talking about basketball because it's gonna be coming right around the corner.
I can't wait. I love hoops as much as football. All right, Landon, thank you so much for tuning in. For everybody tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Badgers. Really appreciate it. When you're done, go check out the portal. That's Brian Smith doing all the recruiting, transfer. That world never ends. So go check out the portal over at Locked On Wisconsin, and we will definitely talk later.